Our 7th HARB meeting. The first order of business is to stand and pledge allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Tonight we have two projects. HARB 2015-16, 302 Orchard Way. We have a two-story addition onto rear of existing residence. Whoever is here for that project, can you come in and present?
Hi, my name is Ruth Cook Rowe. I'm an architect with Warren Claytor Architects, and this project is in the South Wayne Historic District, 302 Orchard Way. And I know you all received your packets. I'm going to turn first to the site plan.
Would you like a handheld? Would that help you?
Is that
yeah.
good? Okay, sure.
We'd like to start with a site plan if you could. That'd be awesome. We'd like to start with a site plan. You could kind of describe the project to us via that. That'd be great.
Yes, sure. Let me just flip to this page. And also the photographs.
Okay. Thank you. That's working.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So if you look at the site plan, you can see that the property is on Orchard Way and that the proposed work is on the rear of the house. There are two parts to the project. There's a two-story part and then a one-story part. And I'll get to tell you more about that later, but I wanted to show you what the existing house looks like. This is a view of the front elevation, which is the view from Orchard Way, which essentially will remain the same because, as I said, the new work will be on the back. This is the right side elevation where there's a screened porch. Then here is a view of the left side elevation as viewed from the front, where you can see there is an interesting attached privacy wall which the owners want to restore and maintain. Do you see it?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, it's.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I need to slide
You're in
this
pretty
over.
good shape except for that one. Yeah,
Oh,
thank
dear.
You. Thank you.
Oh, I see. It's not quite all fitting, is it?
That's okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, so and then most importantly here, most significant is the rear elevation because this is where we're adding the new work. So, and as you can see, also in the packet, there's a photograph of a detached garage that you can see in the site plan, which is here. And also there's a very nice rear yard with a pool that you can see in the site plan. And in addition, there are two other pictures just to give you some neighborhood context. There's the house across the street on Orchard Way and the one next door on Orchard Way. So can you see them all?
Yeah.
All right. Now I'd like to ask you to turn, because the easiest way for me to explain the project is to flip to the last page of the packet, which is the elevation sheet, which has the before and after, to show you the proposed addition. If we can flip to sheet A7. So the story is that the owners of the house, the kitchen is rather cramped and it doesn't connect to the rear yard at all. So the owners were hoping to do this addition which would be more suited to their lifestyle. It's a larger kitchen with a family room with nice windows out to the rear yard and the pool and the one-story breakfast room. Our intention with this design is to have everything match the existing. So the wall construction is very similar. It's a stucco to match existing with a stone base to match the existing. The roof material is also matching the existing, and all the gables are the same pitch as the original roof. And we're also matching the eave. And you see there's an interesting eave detail at the corners, and we're also mimicking that same detail. Also, the windows are all we aim to have the windows we selected match the proportions of the double hungs on the existing house, and so that's really in a nutshell that you can pretty much see from the elevations what we're proposing, and I'm happy to take any questions.
I'm very familiar with the house, and I think that you had a very hard job to do. The windows were totally asymmetrical to begin with, and to try to match anything to anything would have been difficult. But I think your presentation was good.
Just, quick note, the way this is presented, where you have hardline drawings and photographs together is very helpful. Normally, that's something we're shuffling around,
I was trying to stick the 2 pages so that it would be a little easier.
No, it's a really helpful way to present things, so I appreciate that.
Oh, sure, because I like that you can see, before and after.
So the only other thing I noticed that is kind of going on here is on the side, I guess would be the left side, this side of the, if you're looking at the front of the house, the left side, it looks like you're kind of taking the porch that's there, moving it to the rear, infilling, you're doing a little bit of, moving around there and extending that shed roof line across the chimney.
Yes, well, we're reworking that kitchen a little bit to make it a mudroom, butler's pantry, powder room entry into the new kitchen space. And so but really, it's all behind that privacy wall, so you
Right.
really won't see it
Right.
from the street.
So this is clearly just a rear, predominantly rear addition, and matching materials, matching roof lines, shed. Can you
And
back to
hopefully
the
it'll
site
really
plan?
help them to connect the house with the yard more, but,
Can you go back to the site plan one more time?
Oh, sure.
Thank you. Okay. I mean, it's a really interesting piece of land. Most of the houses in this area are all rectangular lots, and you've benefited from another piece of pie there. And it's sited where you have some interesting angles, so I think it's a larger lot than you would normally have for that area. So I think the massing of the house can grow to fit that site more so than some of the other sites. So I think that's in your favor.
Oh, good.
And I think, if you look at that elevation on the rear, again, the main roof gable ridge is the predominant, and hierarchically the number one, and then everything else is lower and goes down in scale, which is something we like to see too as well. And it's clear, even though you're using the same materials and the same details, it's clear what is original and what is going to be new. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you can tell, but it's not in your face, and we sort of like that a little bit to some extent too.
Oh, good.
So that's sort of some of the criteria that we're looking for. The only thing I would ask is, did you look at a roof line from the left elevation where you didn't have a double gable coming together with that cricket in between? Is that anything that's been studied differently?
We didn't study, no, I don't think so, no.
Okay. And I guess you have a side, if you went to that side elevation.
It seemed like this worked so well that we didn't, explore that, but let's see. This one here,
Yeah.
this one you're talking about, right.
I mean, the only reason I ask that is because, if you're going to maintain the main body gable of the house, it would be nicer to have it stand alone, and then everything else comes off in a perpendicular angle. But I know you're dealing with widths that don't really manage that.
Well, and one of the things, too, we're trying to maintain this dormer here.
That's what I was going to ask you.
And this enabled us to cricket around that dormer.
Okay.
Good. That was a question. So you are keeping both?
That- yes.
Perfect. Because that's a pretty crucial feature there. Good. And it's stepping down height-wise. The addition is anyway, as Cam said, so that's nice. Kind of not reflection, but a respect for the original. That's good.
So I have a question for you. I don't have a front elevation in my plans. I don't know if there was supposed to be one.
You don't.
But I can't tell how far that addition is. I mean, you can see kind of that it's coming off of beyond where that current chimney is. I'm talking about the left-hand side.
Uh-huh.
And I know that you're going to be able to see it from the road, but I can't tell how much you're going to see.
Right, well, and you can see, you see there's this, you can see the privacy wall, so it's behind, and there will be a little bit, but that you might be able to see of the two-story part, but it's set pretty far back. And so, I mean, you know what, I should have brought my scale up here, but yeah, let me just see if I can look on the, oh, that's right.
Like I have the existing front, but I don't have the proposed front.
The proposed front, you mean you want to see the photograph?
No, the drawing to see how much of that piece you're going to see.
Oh, so you're missing the front elevation from,
Yeah, I didn't get one of those either, but
oh, you have it right there, it's in your hand.
This is existing.
Oh, that's existing, but, oh, you know, we didn't include a front elevation because it was all, because everything's in the back. Because there would be so little to see that.
I think that photograph on the second page, that page you're moving, if you move that over.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, move the one your hand's on over so we can see it. The rolled up one?
This one? Just
Yeah.
move it over
Well,
this way.
Yeah, open that up, and if you look at that corner shot where you have the privacy wall,
Mm-hmm.
behind that, you see a shed that covers the porch now.
And that's pretty much going to
But that's
continue.
going to come all the way over, and so you'll see a little bit behind that.
That's right. So you'll see a little bit of this shed.
Right, and then the other addition gable will be, it's in the same plane as the main body of the house?
Yes.
So there's no setback?
Well, no, it does step out just a little bit.
It steps out a little bit, okay.
It looks like it steps out a lot. That's kind of why I'm asking.
You know what? Let me grab my scale and I can tell you what it is. Scale.
Look at the rear elevation. It's like a pretty massive piece of it that goes beyond the chimney that's there now.
It
Yeah.
is, it comes out about maybe, well, from the main house, it looks like it comes out about 5 feet.
So it's sort of the width of that little porch that's there now?
Right.
Yeah, it looks like it comes out further on the site plan. A little bit further.
On the front elevation also, is that mass in the front? It looks like it might be a stair tower or stair.
Yeah, that is. It's where the stairs.
Is that original?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, my
It's about
my
100
notes-
years old, I think,
In
the
the
house.
inventory, it says it's a 1909, and it was built by Walter Meller for Herman Wendell. Wendell and Smith were some of the big builders around here.
Oh.
So, I mean, it's got some historic note from that standpoint, so you're connecting all the dots of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's surprising to me that that is an original piece, because it's kind of, if the back of the house is so elegant just by itself. It doesn't have any protrusions, it's very simple, but it's got really great lines and great overhangs and shadow lines and, you know, all this. And then they have that on the front.
It's interesting, isn't it?
So I don't understand that, but that was, you know, that was then and we're now. And you're not dealing with that anyhow, so that's not a discussion.
We're not touching any of that on the front.
So what we have now is we really have a 5-foot extension beyond the side of the house that you're going to see, and, you know, does that matter? That's kind of one of the things up on the board here. I still think the front of the house is the front of the house. It's pushed forward, so that is in the rear. You know, everything's on an angle from the street, so I don't think that it's going to be really, you know, something that's going to be obtrusive. And you're going to end up seeing those roof lines all connect, and it's going to look like it's kind of, you know, all together. It's not just an appendage that happens. So I don't know that that's going to be, you know, something that is a detriment. I don't know if you guys agree or not.
I don't know. I
Okay.
feel like we're missing part of the application.
The front elevation?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's such a minimal piece of it, but that's pretty important to show, I would think, if you, I don't know if that's grounds for a resubmit.
I guess in my mind, though I know what you're saying, that there's no literal change on the actual front of on the front facade, period. It's visible from the front, the new, but if you saw it, it probably wouldn't be anything different than the existing, is my feeling. So it's the same front facade, is my sense.
I mean, it's almost like a vertical line, and that's about it.
So I
You
guess
know,
I'm
set
okay
out
with
as
that.
well.
It doesn't have glazing in it or anything, it's just a stucco wall that goes up to the same overhangs and detail.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's a good point.
I think, I don't think that has a minimal impact on the front facade.
Well, there
Yeah.
is a bathroom window that's up there, but I think you don't see it from, because I think it's obstructed from the main house.
Mhm. I think the wording, and I can go back in the ordinance, says we need as much documentation as we need to make a decision or a recommendation, so I'm comfortable, but everyone has to feel comfortable for themselves, but I don't think there's any literal must have this and this. It's what we'll need to do a recommendation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think in the future, I would definitely, if you can see it from the front, I would put it in. That would be.
Can't
sort of-
hurt.
I think our feeling was that you wouldn't see much from the front, but
I think it meets 178-7 design guidelines throughout. I mean, even the work you're doing on the side with the porch, it's just, you're recreating it in a different space, so it's kind of, you're not making anything larger as far as the side porch goes, it's just kind of moving, and then there's some infill there, so
Mhm.
that's pretty minimal too. Details of the building, not including but not limited to cornices, roof pediments, lintels, archways, balustrades, chimneys, roof shapes, gables, mansards, hips, compatibility with surrounding buildings, retaining architectural details, preserving overall relationships. I think you've got everything in there that I can see. As a contributing building, it's being given another life as well, without major changes to it. Even though it's kind of an odd front facade, that's what was intended. And I didn't get a chance to ask if there was any other information at the Historical Society on this building, but I would suspect, since it's got that relationship with the architect and the village, it probably is. Might be worthwhile to
Yeah,
just
that's
check it
true.
out, see what they've got there. I mean, what you see is, it kind of speaks to you anyhow, because it is what it is, but there may be something that might be of use. So I'd always start there. I don't know if you know Greg Pritchard, but he's the contact there.
okay.
He'll get right back to you if
Yeah,
he
they
has
have
something.
great photos if they have them.
Yeah, they may have
Okay.
some original photos. Anybody want to make a recommendation, or anybody have any other comments, or is there any public comment? No?
Everyone okay?
You okay?
I don't think it's complete, so I'm going to vote no, but if you
Okay.
guys
Okay.
I'm fine.
it already wins.
Yeah, I think I agree with Beverly that we can, if you were to look at the package, it should have a front elevation. In reviewing the documentation and the information, I think we understand what's going on there. It doesn't detract from that. So I think we're, at least some of us are satisfied that it's enough.
I guess case by case
Yeah.
works for me.
And so that's kind of, I mean, we have sort of, you want to have a site plan, we want to be able to see massing to site. We want elevations to see what's going on. We don't care about plans. There are those kinds of things
Right.
that are out there. And the rest of it's interpretive for us. And photographs, photographs are always good. I think I would make a recommendation to approve a certificate of appropriateness based on the submittal as submitted. Any
I second.
seconds?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. And you're off. All right, 3 to 1, you're clean.
Oh, thanks, thanks very much.
Thank you. And you know the process from here? The commissioners' meeting is when, Ray? Next Monday? Will that be on the agenda? Okay. So as an advisory board, we make a recommendation to approve. It goes to the commissioners' meeting on Monday, and they read it as part of their itinerary. They go through the HARB approvals and disapprovals or whatever. They agree or don't or agree or have conditions or whatever. At that point, if they agree, you're officially passed. And you'll get a letter that says that's the case, and then you're good to go for whatever else you need to do. But you need that first before you submit grading or any other permits that you have to go through. So,
Thank you very much.
all right, thank you. All right. Next up, HARB 2015-17, 326 St. David's Road, a garage renovation. A familiar face coming to the podium. You want this one? Okay.
I'm Ann Ledger, and I'm the architect for the job at 326 St. David's Road. We presented last year to add on to the house. And this year's project, we did this addition last year. This year, we're taking the frame garage, which is, that's it from the front, from the street view. This is it from the side. And we're going to renovate the garage to make it match the house. This is the addition on the house, the two pieces here. So we would take this garage and put this roof line on it. And there's going to be a small addition on this side, which is right here, for storage. So the garage bay will still continue to be this part of the garage. We'll make a single door, reframe this roof so that it matches this. So here are the proposed elevations, the front from the street. This will be from the side yard. It'll be added onto here. This is the other side, and this is the back. So it's a simple little structure. Here's the front of the house here. You can see the garage way back, and the driveway is way back in the corner. Here it is here, too. So it's in our feeling that this form doesn't really match the house, and it's not very useful. It's in very bad condition. The doors are quite narrow. So the driveway space on this house is quite tight, and having some place to park the cars and store the cars in the back will be quite useful.
We don't have anything in the inventory on this property. St. David's is one that they kind of don't have as part of the inventory. So do you know, is the main house sort of a 1910, 15 kind of a place?
I think it was 30s, Bridget?
I was gonna say 20s.
It was early, 1910?
Yeah.
Oh, 10.
So the garage is probably done a little bit later with a gamble.
Based on the condition and the design of it, it seems like it wasn't original.
Is it frame or is it?
It's frame, yeah,
Okay, all the way?
with stucco, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the gambrel doesn't make any sense, other than it might have been a kit somebody put together.
Could have been.
I don't know.
Based on how it looks from the inside, it's all just rough framing on the inside.
It's so minorly gambreled, it's almost
I know, it's
odd.
very, very
It's almost
slight.
That little-
It hits you
yeah.
funny, you know?
Yeah, that's, and the basketball net doesn't help.
No.
So you do see it from the street, looking straight down the driveway, and it's really only big enough, I'm not even sure that you could fit two cars in it, because the doors are right, your car door would be right up against the side. So we're going to do a single 16-foot door, and then there'll be room on the side to put bikes and trash cans and all that.
I like, pulling all the main house into that. That's very typical of what should have been, what would have been, what most likely should have been. And I think, you're taking that kind of indescript little box and really making it part of that property, which is terrific. And also getting some more utility out of it. You have
Yeah.
plenty of space to
Yeah.
do that, so that's great.
They do need, the house is rather tight on the lot, so it'll help a lot.
Yeah.
When we,
And you're also maintaining a main gable and a diminutive
A
gable.
little side gable, right.
So that's good. Yeah, I have very few comments about this other than I like it, and I think it's appropriate for the, it's more appropriate than what's there now. It brings it into more of a relationship with the house, and the footprint of a detached garage, it's not overwhelmed. Like if you were to make that a 2 or 3 bay, then all of a sudden the scale gets really big. This is not that case at all. So I think the addition is minor, and the reed is the is the garage enclosure itself, and that's kind of the massing that keeps it in scale with everything. So
when we did this addition, we actually just extended the existing gable out, so this detail is the same as the original. And I'm just bringing
thought I
that over here.
recognized this.
Right.
yeah.
Pardon?
I thought I recognized this
Yeah.
one. Is anything salvageable, like the windows that are there now, or is it?
There actually are, I think, 6 windows, and we talked about doing that. I don't know if we will or not, if it'd be more expensive to do that or not. They're quite nice. We only have 2 windows that we could salvage, just one on this side, facing the side yard, and there's one on the neighbor's side. So we could,
But we always encourage that whenever
Yeah.
it makes sense, I mean, it's.
they're not in great shape,
Even though
but
it's
they're
probably
pretty.
not the same period, we
Yeah.
sort of build on periods as we go
Right.
through time, so it's nice, like right now, we think it's not a big deal, but in 50 years, it will be, why didn't they
To have
save
the
that?
original windows, yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
the kind of thing to consider, and,
The window,
it may not make sense financially, or they're not in good a shape or whatever, but, we always encourage that. So.
out of 6, maybe we can find 2,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Something.
and then, I guess you got the, what is that, 12/1? Is that sort of matching anything in the house, or?
The 12/1 is what was existing on the main part of the house.
Okay, perfect.
So when we do this, I was going to match the windows that were in the back of the family room, which is this room.
Okay.
So the 6/6 of the existing garage windows don't match the house.
Right.
Okay, well, that's
Yeah.
up to you then.
But that'd be
Okay.
awesome. That makes sense to me.
You're looking for 6 beautiful old windows,
And the
6/6.
proportion of the windows seems like 6 feels right in my head.
The 6/6?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the shape of the
Mhm,
scale of the window.
mhm. But the existing house was all 12/1, so.
That's more, the house is grander, which is normal for outbuilding stuff. I also like that the addition that you're making kind of like more livable for today, in an interesting way. You're keeping the proportion of the composite, or a proportion of the house to the garage, because they're both being little and large, but not too much. So it's not, you're keeping the overall ratio, I guess is what I'm thinking, which feels good.
Yeah, thank you. This is also an 8-foot-high door, so I think it balances the 16-foot width a little better, and it makes the whole thing a little taller than what we have here in the
Okay.
photograph.
That's nice.
You may have put in, and I missed,
Pardon?
the building date for the house.
The building date, is it, do you know? Oh, how old the original house is, was it?
The original house? We think
1913? Is that what you asked?
Yeah,
Or
not-
garage date.
I was just wondering about the building date, that's all.
When this will be
The
constructed? or
original.
Oh,
No, the original, 1913.
1913,
Yeah,
thereabouts.
that works.
Yeah.
Most were 1920s in that little
Mm.
stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's right, it's in there. All right, well, I think this one satisfies the 170, can't even read it now, 78-7 design guidelines as well. In quite a few more ways than the original does.
Thank
So,
you.
Any other questions or any public comment or anything? Anything from you guys? You want to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion to recommend a certificate of appropriateness for the address at, I don't see, 326 St. David's,
As
as
presented.
shown, as indicated on the plans.
Okay, I second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, we're unanimous.
Thank you.
You know the drill.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it'll be a great asset to the house.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice working with you.
Oh, oops, turn that off. All right. Do we have any, look at this. Any new business or old business to talk about?
I was going to mention that one old business, everyone here, since I missed last HARB meeting, and I'm assuming you guys were here to hear the presentation of the Amtrak to Paoli line,
Right.
because it was affecting a little piece of Radnor. And I guess the comments were made, sounded really interesting, because I saw the comments that came back, and they incorporated comments from this meeting. So it just made me happy to know that they actually came and showed up, and HARB, worked well in
They had a room
commenting.
full of people. I mean, it was.
that's
It
good.
was engineers, there were historic people, there were people from the Pennsylvania Railroad.
Oh, good. Oh, right, and that group that,
Historical
yes.
Commission or whatever they're called. But I mean,
Yes.
it was like, it was a
But
lot
that's
of people
good.
here.
I'm glad.
And they all presented what their part of the pie was.
Good.
And basically, just to remember this meeting, they're replacing the catenary lines, which are the electric overhead lines
Mm-hmm. That's
that
right.
go from, I don't know, Overbrook to Paoli or some section like that. And the highest part of those towers carries power lines, which they're now going to bring in from, those power lines will actually power those catenary lines. Right now, apparently, they're getting power from someplace like in Manayunk, or it's a circuitous route of things going on. So while they're at it, they wanted to do, I mean, if you look at any of that, no one really looks at it, but if you look at the lines, there's 100 years of fixes and adds, and, there's a post that's this thing, and then it's an open truss, and it's a mishmash of things, which they're all going to take down and put up this new standardized version. But they're also going to take the old parts that are meaningful to historians and repurpose them in different places. So some of that really interesting ironwork that has riveting and so forth, they'll put that into different places, and people have already, the Historic Society was talking about how that's going to be done and all that. So, and there was also a contingent here about, when you do these lines and you make them a little wider, there's tree trimming that has to happen along the line, and who's looking at that? Because it's all high up in the canopies. So, they were saying, kind of the original statement was, well, it doesn't matter because you can't see it. But it's like, no, it's part of the canopy of heritage trees, so you've got to
Right.
think about that. So I think they get it, and they didn't have to come here and talk to us. They did that.
I kind of volunteered
So that was
us
nice.
all to do
I know,
that.
that was-
But
that
that was
was-
great they actually, listened and did that, so.
So they've got a schedule of, more meetings about a couple little
Right.
things they're gonna roll into consideration, and then I guess they present it.
I think they presented in early December
Okay.
again, and I'll be there anyway for work as well as here, but if anyone wants to show up, it's a public meeting, but it's also, I think we're all consulting parties now, which means you can give comments and show.
So if you've never noticed them, look at them. Look
Right,
at them
it's
as you
true.
go. It's why we're here. It's why this community, these communities were developed. That train line
It's true.
created access to the city, which is what, why everybody's here. So as much as you don't think about it, it's a little piece of history that is worthwhile. Okay.
That's all.
So still no public participation from anybody. Okay. And I'm going to move that we adjourn. Anybody in favor for that? I'll say aye. Okay, we're out. Thank you all.